You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, Moveville University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle. Hey everybody, I got Dr. Jason Jaeger here with me. He is in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm here hosting the Chiro Hustle live stream from my place out here in Grand Junction, which is the Grand Valley of Colorado, the western slope, which I like to say no one lives. And this is a special episode. Dr. Jason is a sponsor of the Chiro Hustle podcast media movement, and his brand is the Universal Traction System, and it's very congruent with curve correction and the CBP model. And I just want to say, Dr. Jason, thank you for being with me today.
Jim, hello from Las Vegas. How you doing, brother?
Hey, we're just shining out here, finding out how to crush subluxations.
That's right. That's right. Well, we're going to talk about that today because we can't have those in the world, right?
Well, I think everybody's quality of life diminishes when they don't understand pure and honest chiropractic care, and they don't understand spinal health.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's good, and that's certainly what we're all about. And we'll get to talk today about how UTS brings it.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Universal Traction System and how it came to the market almost 9 years ago now.
Yeah, so it came to market around 2010, and what's really fun and serendipitous, even in your career, is that you helped me do that. And so you came out here with our good friend Dr. Matt Walker from our president for Palmer Rugby. And we filmed all of the training sessions at Caesar's Palace Hotel. We had Dr. Bobby Moore with us. He was still a student. So he was Bobby Moore then, right? And we set him up in every single permutation, X, Y, and Z. That's the CBP gang sign, by the way. CBP, X, Y, and Z coordinates, translations and rotations, negatives and positives. And we bent his spine up and showed how you can correct subluxations in the neck, the mid back, and the low back with one device, Universal Tractioning Systems.
Yeah, and I know that this is a unit that people put into their offices. And what does it look like for people to use the system?
Well, so first, what does it actually look like? It looks like a piece of gym equipment. You walk into different corrective care CBP offices, and sometimes it can look and feel pretty barbaric, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you were part of that. You were part of working in that type of environment. So it looks like a piece of very professional gym equipment. It's about 2 feet wide, 6 feet deep, and 7 feet tall. We made it tall enough, not so that us 6'2" guys can use it, but so that we can put 7 foot tall professional athletes in the machine, whether they're standing or sitting or lying down. And it's a piece of equipment that will work in every vector of the human spine in correcting alignment.
Yeah, now let's talk a little bit about CBP. What is CBP? So if people are out there in our audience and we're using this acronym, which I feel like we have an acronym for everything, like UTS is Universal Traction System, CBP is Chiropractic Biophysics. But let's talk a little bit about biophysics and why it's important for people to have proper biomechanics in the spine.
So when you go to treat somebody, right, when you work on somebody, when you're removing subluxations, if a subluxation is something that's abnormal, it is, right? Mm-hmm. It's an abnormal health event. How do you know if it's abnormal if you don't know what normal is? CBP, starting in the 80s with Don Harrison, Glenn Harrison, Dr. Dan Murphy, these are the guys that invented and made CBP into what it is today. They started it. It was an offshoot from Pedibond, one of the first corrective care methods. And what they did in research was publish and prove in peer-reviewed evidence literature first what normal is. Because how can you go in and correct something that you claim or you state or you believe is abnormal if you don't know what normal is? So chiropractic biophysics started there. They started publishing normals for the neck, the mid back, and then later worked on the low back in the front and the side planes, coronal and sagittal.
I mean, it's super impressive because like you said, I worked in a CBP office for 5.5 years, and I saw what happens when you actually do the protocols properly. I saw the x-rays, I saw the pre, the post, I saw the protocols you guys follow, which I fell in love with it. And before I knew that there was any other type of chiropractic like care, that's what I knew chiropractic to be. And it's very detailed. It's very, patient outcome driven. It's very objective, and it's very, it's something I think that more people, if they knew about it, they'd probably jump on board and think that this is like the best thing since sliced bread.
I would think so too. And it's funny because on the left and the right of us within the profession, there's some that says, we don't need research because we already know what our belief is. There's others that say we have to be very evidence-based and prove what we do. But CBP, we think, is that bridge. It's that middle ground that we hope can make the left and the right and our profession communicate so that we can unify and tell the world about how great chiropractic is. Here's a funny question. When those of us that went through chiropractic school are told that we do an adjustment, do we do an alignment? Do we do an alignment? And the truth is that when they started publishing the research, they found that the adjustment would align you for a moment or temporarily or for a day or an hour or a week. But we want to make that alignment, that change or correction, the reduction and resolution of subluxation be something that's permanent and long term. And this is a tool and an approach in chiropractic that chiropractic biophysics brings.
And I want to follow up with a really interesting question. I've asked this before, but maybe not to our audience, but why aren't there more CBP certified practitioners out there?
It's an interesting question. So here we are, because let's just shoot it straight and put it right on the line. Why aren't there more CBP practitioners out there? So one reason might be that it's a lot more work. One reason might be that it's a lot more training. It's a lot more time to feel like you're doing it properly and that you're doing it proficiently. You have to have a bigger office. You have to employ more staff. You have to buy more pieces of equipment. Just a quick side note, the thing that we thought on the more equipment side of things that UTS brought to the profession was before maybe you had to buy 5 or 10 pieces of equipment to do everything, and UTS does it all in one device, right? So that was the why that for the gift that we brought chiropractors. But so it's harder. There's more work involved. There's more time. There's more energy. Some people might not want to change. Maybe you're helping people. You're making them feel better, or you're eliminating subluxation, and you know that you're doing real good in your practice. And so why change a good thing, right? So there's some interesting reasons. Usually when people come to CBP, if they don't stay, it's either too much work or they're just, they can't wrap their head around all that's involved.
Yeah. And, for me being a educated layperson, I would tell anybody out there to, if you don't practice chiropractic biophysics, meet a chiropractic biophysics doctor in your area at idealspine.com so you can refer out cases that might not be in your scope, that you might not be able to manage properly. And that's just my 2 cents, because I know what you're saying is it does take a lot of postgraduate certifications, and it takes time, it takes intensiveness, it takes dedication. But I think it also gives a different badge of honor when you have that CBP certified practitioner on your lapel or on your polo or whatever you're wearing. I think it gives people that extra sense of certainty that even though I went to school for 7 years and I became a chiropractor, I'm going to go get postgraduate certifications so I can give my patient base the best services that bridge the gap between the philosophical and the evidence-based. And I think that that's what you said earlier, is CBP gives both of those camps legitimacy now to know that what we are doing has research behind it. there's validation from study. And, there are reasons why you do the x-rays. There's reasons why you do the adjustment, and there's reasons why you do a post x-ray too. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, more of the scientific underlay of what chiropractic biophysics stands for and why x-ray is so integral to your system.
That's right. So how can you make a correction in alignment if you don't know what the alignment is? So, the assertion that we just use our x-ray fingers and that our x-ray fingers are reliable, not only can I tell you that's false, but we've already published it. Ask a question in chiropractic about what chiropractic does and what chiropractic doesn't do and what CBP does and doesn't do. And likely the answer is we've done a research paper on it. We've done a case study. We've done a case series. We've done randomized and non-randomized trials on it. The next thing that you're going to see us put out is meta-analyses. For you research geeks that are listening, this is the epitome in peer-reviewed evidence, whether it's healthcare evidence or any scientific evidence. But this is the best of the best and the top of the top. So you need to do these research papers, and you need to look at x-rays to be able to truly see what a spine is doing. And not just sectional x-rays. Don't just look at a neck. Don't just look at a sectional mid-back or low back. You need to look at full spine x-ray. There's about 125 papers out by nuclear physicists, PhDs, that are refuting the major assertion against x-ray, which is a radiation risk. They're saying it's balderdash. They're saying that the calculations were wrong and there was agenda behind it. You're going to see some more of these papers come out by us and more coming out by the PhD nuclear physicists. So you look at really the two major critiques of why you take x-ray. One is radiation risk. Well, there's an abundance of literature to refute that. Two is cost. So, but what is the long-term health cost of leaving a neck or a mid-back misaligned or letting a scoliosis go undetected and doing a $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 surgery to fix it when proper chiropractic corrective care could have caught it and fixed it or reduced it in its early stages, right? You need to do x-ray, and it needs to be full spine, and they need to be measured.
And, I wish I was a novice on this topic, but I'm not. And I've seen like scoliotic shifts correcting. And I don't know if you guys are out there and you're dealing with scoliotic patients, but I have seen like total corrections of scoliotic curves. I've seen anterior head carriage with 0-degree curve and straight on necks. And now we get like up to like a 20-degree curve in somebody's neck that they never had any before. And they're getting better quality of life. They're breathing better. They're sleeping better. And I know that chiropractors out there, you're going to say, well, we don't chase symptoms. Well, what you do chase is quality of life for people. And if you remove subluxation, you restore curve back to what is ideal for that person's body, you're giving them the best outcomes.
And that's 100% right. And what you just said marries the left wing with the right wing of our profession, okay? Because one side says we work on certain symptoms. The other side says we don't treat symptoms, we just remove subluxations. But we really do both. And I'm going to tell you, as sad as it is, patients aren't walking in the door saying, hey, can you remove my subluxations? I mean, some are, but most of them are coming in saying, hey, man, I got a symptom. Can you help me? And then we educate them about subluxation. And then we identify how to make them feel, function better, remove the subluxation. And then we fix the problem. And then we get them into wellness care for life, right? And can't we marry that? The answer is yes. Do we treat x-rays? No. Is our goal to make a neck have a curve on an x-ray? No. Our goal is human being, remove the subluxation and improve their quality of life. And you do that by restoring structure. That gives you function.
And it's full body care. It takes care of the full being. And like I said, I was working in an office and I saw people come from sick and suffering and poor quality of health to within 3 months, their life is brand new almost. They're more functional. They actually have better quality of life. And now they have not only like a spinal health coach, but they have somebody on board with them as a team member in their health team that's telling them, okay, well, you're eating like crap. You might want to consider doing this. And that's the other part of chiropractic that I think so many people kind of miss the target on is chiropractors are a trusted resource for your family's health. And,
that's right.
And I think that that's the other cornerstone of chiropractic is, getting people to start taking care of their families under care. And, it's not just the one person. Like I think it was Sigafus would say, or Reggie Gold would say, why would you come here and get adjusted and leave your rest of your family home to be sick?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Why would you do that? Once you know what it's like to function at your true potential, why wouldn't you tell the world? And we need to educate our people to educate their people and expand our reach. I believe it's happening, Jim. I think that this profession is growing and the pendulum has swung away from the allopathic opiate perspective right into our lap. It's in our lap. Right now is the moment, and we have to seize that moment to help these people with chiropractic care.
Totally believe it. And I think that, I've talked to a lot of people in high levels within the profession. I think it all boils down to languaging. I think that the politicians want to have a solution for what's happening now with the overprescribing and the decay of our neighborhoods and communities. I think that what they do want to do is let chiropractors be that truth in healthcare and be the providers for people and become the port of entry for people that do have these concerns.
Well, I'll tell you something cool that happened in Nevada in 2017. Governor Sandoval issued his State of the State address to the Nevadan public, and he announced that one Nevadan was dying every single day from opiates, and that he didn't even put heroin into the equation. And you're seeing people matriculate the heroin because then the doctors cut them off on the opiates, right? So one person dies every day in 2017 in Nevada from opiates. He said chiropractic, number one solution to the opioid crisis. Number two, he said, was counseling. And then number three, he said, was acupuncture. That was the governor's position. But chiropractors, we got number one, okay? So then what we did in Nevada is we came in and we testified in front of the Division of Insurance, and we said, how in the heck can we not help more Nevadans if we don't get more chiropractors trained? That means open up schools more in Nevada or get more people into the schools in California or the surrounding states so we can get more chiropractors in Nevada, because right now we have about 500 to 600 in Nevada. And I would have to adjust, I think, 500 a shift just to be able to see the demand if every person only got one adjustment once a month. Okay, so we need to get the word out there. The politicians, as you said, know that we are a viable, healthy solution. The pendulum has swung into our lap. We got to seize the moment.
Yeah, and I know it even goes into more of a macro mode with you. I know that you've done the research and you've done the studies to be able to make sure that people know that when you actually get a subpoena and say, I need you to testify in court, that you can show that chiropractic care has gotten this person to a better outcome of quality of life.
That's right. And we do that through proper documentation. We do it with health-related quality of life questionnaires. We do it with a good, proper chiropractic exam. We do it with pre and post x-rays, because why the heck did they get a better quality of life? Was it the adjustment alone? Was it correcting the spine? Objectify it and bring the data. That's all the world wants. Prove it.
Mm-hmm. And what you're saying here is, I know from, once again, my experience working in the chiropractic profession for the past almost 9 years now, is that x-ray is so essential because there could be some type of a damaged ligament from a high velocity collision that somebody's in an auto crash. There could be some type of a ligament tear in somebody's spine that you don't want to guess with people's health. You want to make sure that you x-ray and do a proper exam on people to know that you're giving this person the best quality of care.
Yeah, I'll tell you a really interesting story. I was one of the pilot testers for PostureRay X-ray software from Posture Co. and Dr. Joe Ferrantelli, and you know Joe real well. So in 2007, we tested his software out, and we reached out to Joe and we said, Joe, there's a problem with your software. And he said, well, what are you talking about? I said about 70% of my patients that were involved in motor vehicle crash, when I assess them with your software, have a ligament instability of more than 11 degrees or 3.5 millimeters. There's no way that before I had PostureRay, I was missing 70%. I was. It's that sensitive, and you don't know it without an x-ray. And I look back and I think about, listen, what you don't know, you don't know. You were ignorant. But now you know. And so now all those people that are getting healthcare out there from whatever provider type, and all of these ligament instabilities are going unchecked and untreated and undiagnosed and missed. And then you get those people that 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, they go, hey, I had an auto crash a long time ago and I felt better for a while, but once I stopped care, I've gotten worse and worse and worse. Of course, you shouldn't stop care, people, but right.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, Moveville University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle. Well, what you're saying, Jason, is it makes sense because there's so many times where we don't know what we don't know. And now that you guys have gotten out of the old school line drawings with grease pencils to actually technology that can show motion going on, showing that there is better stability. And, I've heard this before over and over. I kind of feel sore after that adjustment, or that was kind of like it's a little cranky today, or whatever somebody might say that about their neck. Yeah. And I think it's all due because there is lack of information on how to take care of people properly. And I think that's what you guys have done with the research and the diligence and the testing and the studies and making sure that there is some type of if you will, a Bible of influence talking about why chiropractic is essential for the recovery from injury.
That's right, 100%. I mean, another really, really great resource in our profession is Dr. Evan Katz. Evan Katz is in Boulder. Look up Evan Katz on Facebook or on Google and check out his website that specifically focuses on evidence-based documentation of whiplash, cervical acceleration, deacceleration, ligament instability. Great stuff. And then aside from injury, what about pathology? And I know that some listening to this would say, well, the incidence of pathology is so rare. But what if that very rare incidence of pathology that was missed was your mom, was your grandma, was your dad, was your child, your brother, your sister? Would it matter then? Do the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many? Take an x-ray.
Dude, last night I was sitting at dinner with a guy who is an anesthesiologist. And I just met him. He was sitting at the bar with me. I said, hey, my name's Jim. He goes, my name's Mark. We started a conversation, and I told him what I did. I told him I've been traveling nonstop. He's like, man, I have been too. And I started talking to him about this opiate crisis that we were touching on earlier. And I was like, he's like, there's going to be states that are going to be changing their legislation for, having a better course of action towards helping these people. And he's like, what they're eventually going to stop doing is prescribing to them. I go, well, you know what they're going to start doing then? And he goes, yeah, I know, but it's kind of like the fallout of the transition. And I go, yeah, think about your brother falling out from the transition.
Right.
Think about your wife falling out from the transition. I was like, there has to be a better curve to take, and I think chiropractic is the solution for that.
It may be that it's the total solution. It may be that it's going to help some people or a lot of the people, but put us on the team, and the literature supports it. Obviously, our governor in Nevada supports it. I think we're seeing national support for it. So the pendulum is swung. All we have to do is pick up the ball and run with it.
Yeah, and you touched on a few interesting things there earlier, and you talked about the science and the research and the validation behind it. But where do you see the chiropractic profession going forward, and how do you see chiropractic biophysics as a part of that?
Well, here's the thing. I hope I'm saying his name right. Arthur Schopenhauer. Arthur said truth is accepted as evident. Excuse me, I messed up the punchline. So truth is opposed and then opposed violently before being accepted as self-evident. And so that's been the story of chiropractic. And then within chiropractic, that's been the story of CBP. I am telling you guys, CBP is here. It's at the table. It's core curriculum at some of the chiropractic schools. It will continue to be elective and core curricula with more and more of the chiropractic schools. We have proven the science. We have proven the art. We have proven the philosophy. We are on the team. We want to bring the profession together, but those that don't want to come together, they're going to fall off. They're going to fall to the wayside. Who knows? Maybe there's a chiropractic biophysics school. Who knows what will come? You've heard about our diplomate.
Oh, yeah.
The ICA has sponsored and unanimously voted to approve the CBP diplomate. And the CBP diplomate, which we're calling Clinical Biomechanics of Posture, will be one of the, if not the most robust diplomates in the chiropractic profession. It will be rooted in reading and studying all of the CBP published papers, going through all of the coursework, doing clinical ground rounds in CBP instructors' clinics, and just bringing chiropractic excellence through our profession and expanding it more and more and more.
Yeah. And, for me, again, I know that I don't need evidence-based, but the validation as a core curriculum, like you're saying, and as a core stability for people that don't know chiropractic, they need that stuff. And,
That's right.
I say when I get adjusted, I don't need evidence. My evidence is I feel better.
That's right.
That's kind of the drum I was beating for a long time and saying, why do we need evidence? Why do we need to prove anything to anybody when chiropractic works every time, whether you believe it or not, just like Sid would say. And,
right.
When you understand the level of conviction with research and the level of certainty with research, you're changing the cultural conversation now to where people start nodding their head more. And they're saying, yeah, I know, I feel better after I get adjusted too. And now this research supports that.
Well, what if the research is the thing that gets 80 or 90% aren't utilizing us, right? So, I mean, you've had the Kool-Aid and you like it, and I do too, right? But we need to get that huge part of the population that maybe need research to be able to appreciate the art. But you're 100% right. Once they get in and they feel it, nothing is more powerful than what they're going to know and believe, but we got to get them in the door.
Because it changes our physiology. One adjustment turns us into a different person. It removes I used to call it the wind-up process when I worked at the office. I'd say, your spine's kind of like a spring. Sometimes you wind up in poor health. Sometimes you wind up in good health. And if you wind up in poor health, it takes quite a while to unwind you into better health. And I was like, it's like tension. It just winds up. And when you get an adjustment, you're like, Somebody released me from tension, and I didn't even know that it was a part of my life.
We know that, those of us that believe, it turns on the power. It pushes away the bad feelings. It makes our brain connect with our physiology and our body. And then with CBP, our assertion and what the research has shown is that it makes that adjustment last longer. And what I mean by that is this is exactly what traction is. It's an adjustment over time that corrects the regions of the spine, removing the subluxation. And then if you look at our research, if you give us a shot, you'll see that in 3-month follow-up, in 1-year follow-up, in 2-year follow-up, not only the structural alignment benefits remain, the reduction of the subluxation, but also the health benefits remain, right? Like, what isn't good about that? And like what you said, if you don't want to do it, if it's too much or you've been doing what you're doing too long, great, make a relationship with me or make a relationship with somebody else that does CBP. And then you might do something that I don't specialize in, and I'm going to refer to you. That's the world going round. That's okay.
And I think that's the future of specialized chiropractic is some people are going to get into a situation where they don't know how to handle somebody that comes in with a hot disc. And they're not going to be able to take care of them with their tool bag. And they're going to have to find somebody that is, an advanced practitioner that's going to be able to take care of that specific case, or that they might not know how to document things properly. or there's so many different levels of things that I've come to realize that there's so many walks of life with chiropractic
Yeah.
practitioners, techniques, schools, philosophies, groups that people are in. But the one thing that brings everybody core value together is the chiropractic adjustment.
Amen. That's it. And it's got to be a part of what we do. And it's a powerful thing that you and I already know.
Yeah, I have a meme I'm going to be posting here shortly, but it's like they're trying to take innate intelligence and subluxation out of our vernacular, and it's Willy Wonka with that look on his face, and it's just so true. It's like, why would you want to disrupt the course of action for something that's the beautiful profession of chiropractic and change the languaging of it so it becomes more medical modeled and less chiropractic modeled?
Yeah, 100%. Deed presented a paper last year at the ACC RAC conference. And we thought that when he was done, the whole room was going to stop and jump up and jump up and down and cheer. And it was so cool because what the paper showed is that the central spinal cord increased its conductivity by 10%. What would you give to get your central spinal cord to increase its sensory firing rate by 10%? What military person, what soldier, what athlete wouldn't give that? And it remained over 3 months by fixing that curve and correcting forward head posture. It's removing subluxation and making the spinal cord work better. Like, oh my gosh, much to our surprise, but not really. The room didn't jump up and down and clap. They were more interested in the paper that made back pain go away.
Cerebral spinal fluid, liquid light. The more flow you have, the more lightness you are as a human. I think
Bring
that
the light.
that's something that so many people don't really understand, that is a foundation of removing the subluxation, is you allow more lightness in that person. You take the the sickness and suffering out of the lesion on the spine, which is a subluxation, which D.D. Palmer said, that so many people don't even know the history of what a subluxation is. And then those are the ones that want to kick that word to the curb and say this is antiquated terminology. BS. That is the foundation of what makes you guys unique and distinct in the care world of healthcare. Like, I just think that there's so many times when I hear the confusion in the marketplace because I feel the insurance companies want to buy out chiropractic truth. And the more that they can start buying out chiropractic truth, the more that they own the schools.
That's right. Well, and that's why they don't want x-ray. And then the reason excuse they use is radiation, but the research doesn't support the position. So then the real reason is, if you can't see what's wrong with them, you don't have to pay to treat it. That's it. There it is. You heard it live with Jim and Jason Jaeger. You heard it.
So, something I really think is important about these type of conversations is we bring cultural conversation to people that might not get it. And we bring our path that we've walked, different ways, but similar. We bring them together for people to know that there is a voice and there is knowledge and there is research and there is a strategy to get the information out there. And I think that that's why these narratives are so important. And that's why, if anybody's out there, you should be sharing this. You should share this information, because it's not just about the sponsor. It's about the man behind the sponsor. It's the man in the system behind the CBP strategy. I mean, you guys have a whole team strategy to change the course of how people view chiropractic.
That's right. That's right. We have a plan, and we have a positive agenda for chiropractic, and it's to prove the philosophy and the art with science.
And if anybody doesn't support that in your chiropractor, just click go. like we don't have space.
Yeah, shut us down.
We don't have space for that. And I think that the more that we do go forward, Jason, and we do have more people realizing that chiropractic has to have some type of a solution for positive branding in the marketplace, I think that that's what's really going to take for chiropractors to be accepted as the leaders in the health arena.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll tell you, I get a lot of referrals from medical doctors. And I think that's great, because the tools in those medical doctors' toolboxes are knives and scalpels and medications. And yes, there's a time for a knife and a scalpel and medication. But then on all those other instances where they could have been saved with chiropractic, my way in their door is the research papers, right? You bring the evidence to them all they care about is seeing evidence-based healthcare. And then they go, okay, I associate evidence with Jason or evidence with CBP practitioners, and I'm going to refer to those guys. I get 10, 20 medical referrals a month. And then we get them out of the medication system.
Well, that's the other thing, Jason, is nobody goes into the medical arena to do harm.
Yeah.
They just do what's inside of their scope.
That's right.
And really, they're just like the consumer. They don't know where to go or who to trust.
Right. You use the tools in your toolbox. That's it. Even with chiropractors, if the only thing you trust or know how to use, the only thing is the adjustment, and you don't understand 2 and 3 point bending traction, you may fear it, right? Or you may poo-poo it. You gotta have the tools in your toolbox, and we do go in to help people into healthcare.
Yeah, and even the people on the medical model side, they don't want to do harm to people either. They just don't, like I said, they don't know the agenda that they should follow for referrals out because we don't have a system in place for them to do that.
That's right.
But I think what you guys are doing is outstanding work, and I think that you having the vision and the team and the leadership and the people actually doing the work, like Curtis Fedorchak and people like Doug Lightstone and Deed Harrison and yourself, and these people that are actually doing the research and pumping their time and energy into. There's 3 things we can give people in this world: our time, our talent, and our treasure. And I think that you guys are fostering all that into the future of chiropractic with your time, your talent, your treasure, and you're giving the best of the best so we can have a better solution for people's conditions.
Amen. Well, I appreciate that. And that is definitely the mission and what the CBP nonprofit board is doing. So that everybody knows, there is a company called CBP Seminars, and that's where the training for the technique occurs. Headed up by Deed Harrison and then supported by the instructor team. And then there's also the Chiropractic Biophysics nonprofit board, and that's where we raise funds to do research. In the bylaws of our nonprofit board, none of the board members profit. None of the board members get paid. In fact, we're required to donate to the nonprofit to even have a seat at the table. It's selfless work where every dollar, every dime goes into doing more research for our great profession.
And those are ethical premises.
Yeah.
You pay to play, but you pay to be a part of something that's bigger than you.
Yeah, you're putting money in for research. I mean, those dollars that I donate and that everybody that donates to the nonprofit every single year literally goes in to publishing papers, to IRB, to doing studies.
Well, it's just like what you're doing for us. You're supporting and sponsoring the Chiro Hustle podcast. And what that does is that lets us keep free speech in chiropractic. And I think that everybody wants to support that, because the day that we don't have free speech in chiropractic is the day that we've lost the profession.
That's right. 100%.
So I just want to say, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would like to touch on with our audience tonight?
Well, I think we covered a broad spectrum of subjects. We started off with UTS, but we delved into a lot of great stuff. Anybody out there that's interested in what CBP can do, there's a team of really nice, awesome, smart people that would love to meet you and interact with you, whether you want to PM me or anybody in the CBP team or family, or even better, come to a seminar. Yeah, PM Jim, but come to a seminar, check us out, meet us, press palms, break bread, and see what we're all about. Maybe learn enough about it that you'll refer to us, or maybe learn enough about it that you start doing this type of work. But it's good work. It's good for chiropractic, and it's good for our patients.
And if people want the universal traction system, what website can we send them to?
Great. So Universal Traction System, go to UTS Spine. So that's UTSSPINE.com, UTSspine.com. You can see the different spinal products there. And then it will, when you go to purchase or order, it'll bring you through into the CBP or Chiropractic Biophysics.biz website for your purchase. It's a great product, and we hope it's something you'll check out.
Yeah. And, I just want to say once again, Jason, thank you for your time. and supporting us. And thank you for your sponsorship. And anybody that does have questions about Dr. Jason's system with the Universal Traction System or CBP, I'm a trusted resource for you as well. So I wanted to make sure that if I can ever be an inroad to somebody getting to good information, I want to be that liaison for the chiropractic profession. And I want to be able to be somebody that can foster truth in chiropractic long term so that people have the life-changing adjustments that they're looking for. They might not know it quite yet, but if we just keep on with goodwill campaigns like this and giving information out there, the people definitely know that once the politicians start catching wind that chiropractic is the answer, I think that more people will say, I demand this. I want this for my whole family.
Amen. Amen. That's exactly right. Jim, you know firsthand, you've worked on the equipment personally, and you are a heck of a resource. If you need to email us, info@utsspine.com. And I appreciate being on with you today, and it's been our honor to be a sponsor.
Well, you make it a lot of fun for me. I get to talk about things that I get passionate about. And, I think it's just a good marriage between us. And I appreciate you being there for us. And I look forward to a long-term sponsorship from you guys. And I'm going to keep on putting out an interview a day. And I just want to close out and say, you're just one story away. Keep hustling. Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.